Hey everyone, I'm saying hello here from Tampa, and I have great news for you. We're here in front of the water in the channel side in Tampa, Florida. And today we're extremely excited. Few things have happened. The most exciting thing is that today we released our first book. Our first book is called 45 Questions to Inspire Growth for the Medical Clinic. I'm Dr. Myrdalis Diaz Ramirez, creator of the Max Salud Mastermind and the podcast Design Your Physician Life, and now author of that book that I hope that you go and get. It's called 45 Questions to Inspire Growth in the Medical Clinic. I was kind of running to come here. So if you go to our website, maxallure.com/inspire, you can get your own free copy today. So maxallure, maxallure.com/inspire. So I inspire you to go and get your free copy today. This week in our Max Allure Mastermind, we had our wonderful Dr. Harvey Castro that we're waiting. He should be here any second, asking for permission to come into our meeting. And we talked about how to gain superpowers using AI. So I invite you to go and do #replay, #live to this transmission. You won't want your friends to miss it. We're going to be talking about some of new things that he's put together to share with physicians and everybody in healthcare. Here you are. Let me bring you into the video. So I'm going to send you an invite there, Dr. Castro, so that you can come and you can join us. So see, there you are.
Okay, how are you?
And yourself?
Good. Thanks for having me. I only activated the voice so that I can make sure that it comes on strong and I don't, in case the bandwidth goes out.
Well, you're welcome to open the camera too. I'm here. I'm sharing sea, water, Tampa Bay. Like I'm having a great time. I'm very thankful to the hotel personnel here at the JW Marriott. I don't have anything to say other, not making any other money besides just having come early here, and they gave me a room, upgraded me, and here I am with this wonderful background just for you guys. So Dr. Castro is going to join us shortly. Let me see. I'm going to try that again. And then it seems that he's having some problems with the bandwidth for the internet, but we'll see how it happens. If not, I'll do that again. Anyways, everybody, you're joining us. Thank you for coming here. We're going to have Dr. Castro shortly. Let me see if I can give you the opportunity to come back and join again. And we just released our book, 45 Questions for the, let's see, bring them on video. I'm sending you an invite, Dr. Castro. And if not, you can send me one and I'll add you up. As long as you're in your cell phone, it should be good. So he was actually our guest this week in our Design Your Physician Life podcast. If you haven't heard that podcast, go ahead and look it up. We also have in our YouTube channel, it's also released there. Our YouTube channel is called Max Salud Mastermind. You can find it, MAXALLURE Mastermind. And you can find not only that recording for that podcast, you can see all our episodes that we've had to help physicians through entrepreneurship. We're also diving into the AI. And let's see. So I am on. I think that you're going to have to come out and come in, and it's very important that you do this through your cell phone. So I'm gonna get you out and then have you come back in. The other thing that happened today, I'm so excited, and there's if Kate, can you please put the link so that everybody has access to? It's our new book. It's our first book. It's 45 Questions to Inspire Growth in the Medical Clinic. And when we are physicians mid-career, we might be a little bit of burnout. I certainly was, and that's why I inspire all these talks that we're having right now. And we don't necessarily know what to do with running our medical clinics. We spend a lot of time learning about medicine, but about these other things, and we talk about technology in this new book from today as well. So go and get your copy. It's a free copy. You have access to it. It's maxallure.com. There you go. You're coming in. I'm going to add you. I'm going to approve you. And you should be coming in shortly. Yeah. Let's see. I added you. And I don't see you again. Okay, on cell. got out, then back in. And I sent you the invite. You might have to get back in one last time, go back in, and then come back again. So let's talk about a little bit about acquiring superpowers through AI. Oh, here you are. Let's see, I'm gonna approve you. You left again. I don't know, I think you might be having something with your signal, Dr. Castro. The signal can happen at that time. So let's talk about some superpowers that you can acquire with through AI. AI is artificial intelligence. This is all programming, actually, you know, right? We know. And one thing that we have to understand is whatever we're doing is somebody else programmed it. So it's going to give us information based on that information that it has gotten. There's different languages out there that we're using for many different things in our clinics or in healthcare. We can use it from, you know, some people are evaluating radiology images. Some people are using it for marketing. Some people are using it to produce information to educate our patients. And it depends on the information that you provided, the information that's going to give back to you. Also, it turns out, some of these languages have different, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get Dr. Castro in back. We lost him. He's going to be coming back in a second. Also, depending on the language that you use, is going to be the output that you're going to have. So we know that ChatGPT is being, you know, it was released not even 9 months ago, and we have produced so much with ChatGPT. It's user friendly. There you are. So I'm sending you the invite, and you should be coming here.
Hi,
there you are. Yes.
Finally. Sorry.
Yes. No problem, no problem. It's just the way it is. It has to be the cell phone. It's strict with, you know, Facebook. I don't know. But I was telling people that, you know, we were talking earlier this week, and thank you for being here. Thank you for being in our podcast this week. It was amazing. Yeah. And we're talking about superpowers in through AI. And we have been using artificial intelligence for many things. And we have, depending on the language that we're using and the input that we give to that app or application or program, is what we're going to get. And we were talking that ChatGPT, we've been using now for quite a few months compared to the other things that are coming, like Claude and the things that we're expecting with MedPalm 2 and all that stuff. And each one will have its own personality depending on how they've been programmed and the data set that they've had. So you've done a lot with ChatGPT, and right now you have some tricks that you're going to hopefully share some of them with us today. Before we get to the juice of what you have, the meat of what you're bringing today, what can you tell us about your discoveries with these other languages that we're seeing coming out?
You know, thank you for having me. It was a great podcast early in the week. What I'm finding so far is kind of interesting. The different language models are getting better. Bard is actually a lot better than it was just 3-4 months ago. I'm able to start playing around with it and able to get more information. I personally am biased. I still think overall, looking at all the different aspects, I still like ChatGPT 4 with the plugins and everything the most. I think Claude is fighting a strong second, and the reason I like them a lot is because of the amount of information that you're able to put in. Basically, you could put in a whole book and interact with the whole entire textbook, as opposed to ChatGPT. You could probably get away with a couple of chapters to do that, and so the size of Claude allows you to do it. In healthcare, I'm finding I'm actually, when we're done here, I'm meeting with Glass Health, which is AI specifically for large language model, that it's using doctors like us to reinforce this model and to create better differential diagnosis, treatment plans. And so I'm really stoked about that meeting that I'm having later on today.
That's awesome. One of the things talking about Claude, so for those of you who don't know, there's different languages, and these are interactive languages, as Dr. Harvey Castro. I'm just going to say a few things. I'm not going to say a lot from the podcast because I want you guys to go and listen to the whole podcast. But when we were talking about how to describe what these AI apps are, you're like talking to a friend, right? So You're learning what that friend is talking like, what languages they have. And Claude is, a different one from ChatGPT, but it's been said to have more of emotional intelligence. And it also has this capacity where you can load these PDFs and big files into it, and then it will analyze it to you, for you. And I've seen it done like analysis for huge companies that you would normally spend thousands of dollars doing. If you get the appropriate input, the appropriate data and appropriate questions, you'll get this analysis. So we did it for our book. Today is the release of our first book. It's called 45 Questions to Inspire Growth in the Medical Clinic. And we gave it to Claude. And we said, hey, Claude, what do you think about this book? And it analyzed it in the different areas, and it told us, it's good for this, it's good for that. And then we asked it to rate it. Rating is a very interesting thing that we can do with these applications, because sometimes you ask them, what are you rating that out of? What are you basing it on? And you cannot, it's, I don't know, I'm just giving you a number, so it depends on the data. But the good thing that it did is that it told us, you know what, it would be great if you fix these things. So the app read the book, we asked it to rate it, we asked it why it was good, what parts were missing from the book, how they could make it better, and it found some mistakes in our reading already. So we used that, and it was amazing. And here you have the book. Actually, we have the link for that book if anyone wants to see it. Is maxsalur.com/inspire. You can get a copy of the book. It's free for everyone right now today. So now that was Claude. Let's go back to your favorite child, ChatGPT. And you've just released a list of some, prompts and tips for people. So tell us some about your favorite prompts and why.
At the end of the day, we're all different specialties. We all have different backgrounds. I always use the same example. I feel like we're the bell curve of technology, because some of us adopt really early. Some of us, we hate it, don't want to use ChatGPT or any AI. And then some people are kind of holding back to see what everybody else is doing. And then once they prove it, then they'll come. And so one of the things I've been talking about is, it's really hard to create. I created a cheat sheet, and I called it GPT plus healthcare, and it's on LinkedIn. And the skinny is, how do you write a book, or how do you write this cheat sheet when you have the bell curve? You're not talking to medical students. You're not talking to one doctor that's just 1 year out. You're talking to everybody. So it's really tough, because some people, when you look at tips, you're like, I have no idea what he's giving a tip about. I don't know this. And some other people were like, oh, that's baby. That's so basic. And so I took the approach of, let's just talk about some of the bad things that are in there, like the hallucination everybody knows about, the database. This is the year 2021.
Well, some of our people who are here might not know what a hallucination is. Can you tell us what a hallucination is? Because we've had ChatGPT and Claude hallucinating at home, but what is that?
Yeah, I'm opening my file so I can have them here. No, but hallucinations, the way I see it, is pretty simple. Think of it this way. I always like talking in analogies. Imagine having your best friend, and your best friend is a genius, and she knows everything in the world, and you can call her anytime. But the problem with your best friend is she's so smart that she will always give you an answer. But sometimes she gives you the wrong answer, but she's so smart that you don't realize she's giving you the wrong answer. And so hallucinations, especially for us in healthcare, could be that, let's just say, I'm an ER doctor, but let's just say I asked ChatGPT to give me a procedure in surgery and to go through the entire procedure. As a doctor, and we're all doctors here, where I could look at it and say, yeah, that looks medically sound, but it's hallucinating because it really doesn't know, and it's filling in the gaps, and it's basically fibbing. And then I show that same output to a surgeon, and they start laughing at me, be like, dude, this is so wrong. Like, we don't even do this. Like, yeah, the science there, but that's not what happens. And so that's just an example how hallucination can really kind of mess us up. And we have to be very careful when we use these tools. Another quick example is, I could take your website, for example, and plug it into ChatGPT and say, hey, give me a summary of her website, and it'll do it. But the problem is, if I'm not aware that ChatGPT sometimes hallucinates, meaning it can make mistakes or say the wrong thing, then it may take someone else's website, or it may take the keywords of your website and tell me that that's what your website says, but it's actually all wrong. So we have to be very, very careful how we use this. And the oxymoron here for me is we go to Google to ask a question, we go to ChatGPT to ask a question. The difference is when you go to ChatGPT, if you're not careful, it may give you such a good answer back that it's actually wrong, and you're perpetuating that same wrong concept.
Well, a huge example of that happened to us, hallucinations with ChatGPT. So when you see Google has like almost like all the information that's out there, ChatGPT, depending on the year that you use, the version that you use, will have information, 10% of the internet up to like 2021 for the version 3.5. And then you can use some other ways of bringing more information in the version 4.0. So it went to some sites when I asked about myself, and I'm trained as an anesthesiologist and interventional pain management. And it gave me that I did graduate from such a wonderful university, I don't even know which one, and that I was an internal medicine doctor, and then I was practicing now what I'm doing. But it was this huge conglomerate of things that were not true for us. It has also given us some, like it creates some bibliography that's not real too. And then you see, oh my goodness, that link like looks so perfect. And if you do cut and paste from that link without really corroborating that link, it might be a hallucination. So you have to check that. So before we got to the hallucinations, you were trying to get into your favorite prompting for ChatGPT.
You know, for me, that one's a tough one because there's so many different ways of prompting. I don't really have a favorite per se. I have uses per se, but not an actual prompt. I feel like prompt is like riding a bike. You know, I can tell you could do this trick or that trick, but until you have practiced riding your bike, I'm not gonna show you how to do a jump before you can basically start riding your bike. And so with ChatGPT, I feel it's the same. Instead, I like telling people just use it, and then let's go through it together on how to use it. You know, I like sharing this example because I think all of us can do it this way, and there's no special prompt. I mean, there are special prompts, let me preface, but I don't think it's a perfect way. So let me just give you the example. Say I'm a business owner and I'm starting up a clinic and I don't know stuff. And I know we've already talked about asking things that you don't know, but you have a good feel of what sounds right and what sounds wrong. And so you can ask ChatGPT, hey, let's open up a business in healthcare, but how do I market my business and what are the ways? And it'll give you an example of how to market for healthcare. But then if you want to take it to another level, you can tell ChatGPT, hey, pretend you're Steve Jobs and you want to market your business as if you were Steve Jobs. And it'll go through the database and look at how Steve Jobs does things and characteristics of him, and will actually give you a different output. And here's the crazy part of ChatGPT, and this is why in healthcare it's such a mess, because it's not reproducible, meaning everybody here, we can all ask that same question and we'll all get different answers. And then we can word it exactly the same. And then after we worded that question, we can ask it again and it'll give a different response. It may be a little variant of the main response, but it'll still give a different response. And so in healthcare, you know, you have to be consistent. You can't just ask a question and then say, well, you could do it this way, or you could do it that way. As we all know, in medicine, there's several ways of doing it, but there's a better way that's scientifically proven versus others. And so that's where we have to be careful how we use this data. But going back to my initial example, I love using it for brainstorming, for helping me with whatever task I have. If I have a question or if I have a project or I need to work on something, I'm getting to the point where I just ask ChatGPT to help me, not to do it for me. So I give it a little background. That's another tip, that whenever you do ask ChatGPT, you should always give a little bit of a background on what you're doing, or preface. So that way it knows which way, you know, are you talking about marketing healthcare? Are you talking about marketing, you know, online business? It's different. And so giving it that background helps. And so this little cheat sheet that I came up with is basically, I'm going over Chrome extensions, websites, how to prompt, different techniques. The other one is, a famous one is just acting as a role playing. So as we know, here, let me give you a quick fun example. We're all doctors. Some of us are really good at nutrition. Some of us suck at nutrition. So we have nutritionists that will help our patients. So if you have a patient with diabetes, you can tell ChatGPT, pretend to be a nutritionist And then you can put in all the allergies of the patients, all their likes, and you can say, hey, make me a meal plan Monday through Friday. Here's what the patient likes, doesn't like. I need this patient to be on a keto diet. And then it'll make the actual recipes, and it'll give you the food content. But then what's really cool is they have these things called plugins, and there's one for Instacart. And then you can literally take that output, put it on the patient's Instacart, and then literally the patient would have that whole entire meal plan for the week. And as a doctor, I thought, man, even if I suck at nutrition, this would help because it would kind of give me the basics, tell me what's right. I can look at it and be like, yeah, these are the right foods that I want my patient to do. And now I'm really giving an amazing service to my patient, and probably better than I personally could do. And even though I personally think I'm good at nutrition, I'm nowhere near the background and database that ChatGPT has.
That's awesome. That's really a superpower right there. Like we're talking about how to acquire superpowers to your business through artificial intelligence, and that's one of them. But going back into mixing an example like that and hallucinations that you can get on corroborating your information, I did a similar thing for patients who were low testosterone. I wanted to increase their testosterone through the use of food. And I said, okay, ChatGPT, imagine that you're a world-renowned dietitian, functional dietitian, and we want to do this plan, a weekly plan, and then it's a unique meal for each day, concentrated on 2 meals a day. And it gave us like the same meal like 3 or 4 times, and it would still add some of the things that the patient was allergic to. So you have to pay attention. And then you ask again, I guess again, until you really get the answer that you're looking for. So that, to me, what you've described is really acquiring a superpower for your business in healthcare. Which other things would you describe as superpowers you think that you've gained yourself, or you can discuss for physicians in their clinics?
Yeah. The other thing I can honestly relate, and we got to be a little careful here, but as an ER doctor, the way I do my work day is a lot different from yours. I need to be able to be going at 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning, and it doesn't matter if I was up all day or the day before.
Not for me. That's not for me.
And so, I can honestly say that, for example, it's 3 in the morning. I haven't slept in maybe 20 hours. I'm exhausted. I got 4 more hours to go. And, we all go into that autopilot mode, and I see a patient. But what if I really want to just check my work? It's not like some of the places I cover is single covered. So it's not like I can talk to another doctor. It's me. And so why not be able to, again, we got to be careful with HIPAA. We never put any of the 18 HIPAA identifiers. But what if I took all the bones of the patient, 54-year-old female comes in with jaw pain. Here's the lab findings. Here's the x-ray findings. And then ask ChatGPT, hey, what are the differential diagnoses that I should be considering? And then it tells me, and then I'd see something on the differential and saying, I didn't even think of that one. Let me rule it out in my brain. So I'm like, okay, I got this back. I got the CBC clinically. Patient, I forgot to ask this question. Let me go back and ask. Now I'm able to help that patient. And it's not that I'm stupid, not that I have training, not that what I don't know what I'm doing or I'm relying. No, I'm actually leveraging my analysis plus using AI. And it's not that AI is going to replace me or that, it's smarter than me.
Consulting, basically. Yes. You are consulting. You have a buddy, as you said, like ChatGPT can hallucinate and everything. But if you're there where both of you have information, ChatGPT might have information that you don't have access to.
Yeah.
And you're giving the information for your patient.
Yeah. And then here's the beauty. I'm so stuck on plugins. Plugins is basically, think of like an app that attaches to ChatGPT. So another database, it could be something called PubMed. It could be some research papers. And so now I can have that in the background and ask ChatGPT. So now it's not limited to the year 2021. It's actually going into PubMed. And so at that point, I could argue it's actually pretty good. It may be more accurate than what I know in my mind, or maybe I didn't read. The other thing I always talk about is every 30 days, our medical knowledge has to double. Back in the 1950s, it would take 50 years for the medical knowledge that we need to know to double. 50 years back in the 1950s. So in theory, you could argue that if you were a doctor in the 1950s, you could almost get away with murder for 10 years and medical knowledge really didn't change that much. Whereas if you did that for just a couple of months now, you would be so behind. And so if you did the same now, you'd be super behind. So my point is this: if you use ChatGPT or GPT equivalent, you'd be more up to date because you leverage these databases. There's so much information we have to know.
That's as I say, like bringing a superpower, just having access to that much information. Because when you're doing, for example, and we call it before Dr. Google, right? We had Dr. Google, people would ask something at Dr. Google, but right now you have the power to really be very specific about your question, and you can narrow down and narrow down and narrow down your question with such a huge database that really humans don't have access to that database otherwise. And for you to be spending your day sitting and reading journal after journal after journal, especially in emergency medicine, that you can get anything, that comes to the door, is like from every single specialty. It's amazing that you have these available right now. Yeah. I have a question for you. It's been quite some time, right, since ChatGPT stopped Bing, paused Bing. And that itself alone was like one of the ways, without using plugins, that you could do and use actualized data. Do you have like any insight or any understanding of what's happening with Bing for ChatGPT?
Yeah, so this is kind of funny that you asked. Um, two things to be aware. Number one, the Bing. Let me start with the top. Microsoft owns 49% of ChatGPT. With that said, it's like having a cousin that is a business partners of yours. You guys are close, you guys are related, but at the end of the day, the two sides are going to do what they want, even though they're kind of working together. So Microsoft decided, hey, we're going to do this thing called Bing Chat, and we're going to release it. And the cousin, OpenAI, said, no, it's not ready for that. You got to wait. And so they said, no, we're going to do it anyway. So they went ahead and pushed it. Simultaneously, OpenAI said, well, it's out there. Let's go ahead and put this in as a plugin or as an option for people that have ChatGPT Plus. And what happened is people were going into Bing and going around firewalls and being able to get New England Journal, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, and just go into ChatGPT and get into the website and take all the information from the website and read the article without having to pay it. And so both the cousins were like, hey, we're going to get sued here if we don't do something. So let's take this off the market until we fix it. So that's what's going on with Bing right now.
And talking about lawsuits, there are some lawsuits already coming through from comedians and many other people. So how do you see that affecting our use of this technology in the near future?
I've wrote a whole article about this actually. I call it we're in the Napster days of AI, where back in the day, Napster was, for those young people listening, was a way we could listen to music without paying for it. You could download it, listen to all you want, and you wouldn't have to pay. And so the music industry basically got in bed with digital music and said, okay, we're going to start charging for this information. And so long story short, now you can go into Spotify and all these platforms and you don't have to buy music. You can just pay a membership and you get all of it. And so I use that analogy because I feel like we're in the same days. I really think this is what's happening now. And so I know a lot of industries are going to fight this, but I have a feeling that the book industries, the different silos are going to say, fine, they can use my data and they have to pay a membership fee. And so will that be going to OpenAI? Will that be going to, to your publishers? That's still be decided, but I have a feeling that's where we're headed. The craziness of all this is, according to patent law, and I haven't researched this thoroughly, but this is just my 2 cents. In order to patent something, you have to show that you've made it. OpenAI is making every information that comes out of ChatGPT is generated. And so they're making the argument that this is nothing to do with violating any kind of privacy or taking data from something else. We're actually taking everyone's data in a sense that's already out there based on the internet, based on public domain. And this information that we're using, we're just generating based on stuff that's already out there. And so it's going to be quite interesting to see these lawsuits. The other interesting lawsuit is they don't want anybody calling themselves GPT. They want to own GPT. So I have a business called the GPT Podcast, And I'm not worried because they've already failed twice on this lawsuit, because this name is kind of like saying, I'm gonna trademark the water. From now on, no one can say water because that's my name. That's how GPT has come into the market. Now
Well,
everybody's looking at it
there's
as,
an apple somewhere there.
yeah, yeah,
Who knows?
yeah. So anyway, it's going to be quite interesting to see how all these things change.
Well, before we go, if you're listening to this, please do hashtag live and hashtag replay. Go to our podcast, Design Your Physician Life, and also to our YouTube channel, which is called Max Allure Mastermind. There's a link that is being put there, MAXALLURE Mastermind. And then you can see the whole conversation that we had with Dr. Castro earlier this week. We also have our book. I'm just so excited that we have our book. It's my first book, so I'm telling everybody, it's 45 questions to inspire growth in the medical clinic. And we've done that because of so much overwhelming feelings that physicians are having these days. 1 in 4 are expressing symptoms of depression, as per a recent survey just as at the end of last year. And that, that's past COVID, we still have problems with burnout. And right now, as I say, right now we don't have time with all this advent of AI and the progress that's happening to really dwell on so many things. We don't have time right now to be, unfortunately, burnout. Having been there and done that for me, and having found entrepreneurship as an answer, we have this book, and we touch on some of the technology, and it's important for everybody to really be involved in what's happening in one way, shape, or another. So as we leave here shortly, is there another superpower that you can share? You've shared with us the superpower of being, provide nutritional counseling to our patients, being able to corroborate your information, expand your differential diagnosis. Anything else from a business point of view for the physician in the clinic?
Yeah, I you're gonna laugh when I say this, but I hate lawyers. I don't like lawyers. I get scared of lawyers. I don't want to malpractice. I'm scared. Obviously, I have friends that are close that are lawyers, and I joke when I say it. But my point is this: we're all scared of malpractice, all of us. I would be shocked if a doctor was like, "I'm not worried ever about being sued." No, everybody's had that at some point in their life. Maybe they're not as worried now as when they started, but they are. And so one of the things that I think would be really helpful, and I don't know if it's a superpower, but I think it's a great trick that you can do. There's 2 things. We all know that we're more likely to get sued if you're not empathetic with your patients. The more harder you are, the rougher you are, the more likely you're going to get sued. The other is there's just malpractice stuff that you've learned through the art of medicine. You're like, hey, dude, you can't do that in medicine because you're going to get sued. So we've all come up with our own list. Why not ask ChatGPT, hey, how do I be more empathetic? Hey, what things should I avoid saying to my patients? How do I become more empathetic? Or on the other side of it is just talking about more of the malpractice. So give me tips in my specialty or the things that get me sued. So as an ER doctor, it's kind of missing a heart attack or certain cases. So then I'm more careful with those cases. Another one could be just asking ChatGPT on the malpractice, what is the common one? And I bet you in the top 10 is documentation. Things that we already know, but why not ask ChatGPT to really personalize it to your specialty? Taking it to another level on malpractice, say you are a 60-year-old male that's been practicing ER medicine, ask ChatGPT, why do 60-year-old plus ER doctors get sued on versus someone in their 40s? And I can tell you it'll have a different answer for that person. And that's information that's not going to be easy to find on Google.
Yeah, we can do the plugins, and then it will go, as you said earlier before, you can go to PubMed. There's a lot of research there. I know in anesthesiology there's a lot of it. And for the cases for the malpractice, and I'm pretty sure there are a lot of others. That's something that I had not really thought of. Yeah. That's a wonderful, wonderful thought right there to think about. So thank you for being here. Thanks a lot for sharing all of this with us. If you guys want to reach Dr. Harvey Castro, where can they do it?
Yeah, I'm pretty easy to find. It's pretty easy. It's Harvey Castro, M as in medical, D as in doctor. So Harvey Castro, MD. And I'm on all the social media. So LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. And then all the books behind me are all the books that I've written this year. So congratulations on your book. I know it's exciting. And I've been playing with the whole feature. Actually, before you mentioned it, I was going to put your book on chat PDF and then have a conversation with your book to see more information.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, yes, tell me. And then, we have tons. There's another one coming. There's actually two more coming. One medical with another friend, and then we have one to dive down in the artificial intelligence world. So that's coming up too. So thank you for being here. And everybody, please, #live, #replay. Go and get those books. Get Dr. Harvey Castro's books as well. And just, have fun and get involved. See you then. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Thank you.
Bye.